Alex Saitta, a former school board member.
My name is Alex Saitta. I was on the school board in Pickens County from 2004 to 2016. In our state, we've long relied on education leaders to come up with new initiatives to solve the problem of poor academic performance. Despite millions of new initiatives and spending billions more, there's been little improvement. I think it's clear by now we're asking the wrong people for solution. Education leaders are academics that see the world through an academic prism. Unfortunately, the problems we face in our schools are not academic in nature. You ask a surgeon what to do, 9 out of 10 times he's going to tell you to operate. If you ask a district office administrator what to do, he's going to tell you, he's going to give you an academic remedy. He's going to say yet another reading program, or more new assessments, or additional teacher training, or another technology upgrade. Add in the groupthink that prevails in the system, and the way the chain of command is just rigidly enforced in the system, 5-year plans that rival the old Soviet Union. Few leaders actually see beyond what they know or are comfortable with. Instead of talking to those at the top or actually relying on legislators, I really think you should randomly pick 100 teachers, and I mean randomly, and I think they'll tell you the problem. First is teachers become teachers because they want to teach in the classroom freely and teach their children as they see fit. Unfortunately, that freedom is being grinded out of the classroom by top-down bureaucrats who haven't taught in a decade or two. They tell teachers what to teach, when to teach it, how long to teach it, and teachers are observed, evaluated, and have to report on every inch of it along the way to make sure they're doing it to the letter. It's not surprising new teachers are not hanging in there and old teachers are jumping for early retirement. That's not an academic problem. It's a management problem. You can pay teachers more to tolerate all this, or you can just fix the problem. Second thing is a lack of discipline. Too many students don't follow instruction, they disregard the rules, they're disrespecting teachers, they're bullying other students. Teachers and administrators are now afraid to discipline these students because they don't want to end up on the 6 o'clock news. That's not an academic problem, that's a psychological problem. The student's sense of right and wrong and what's appropriate is faulty. Also, it's a social problem, mainly how students behave amongst themselves and how they treat the staff. Again, none of this is an academic problem. 3, more students are now struggling with social, psychological, and emotional issues. If a second grader is not reading at grade level, it's not because we need yet another new reading initiative or that the teacher needs even more training. That's not the problem. Likely the parent doesn't read at home with the child. That's a social problem or a relationship between the parent and the child. It's not an academic problem. If Janie's coming home every day crying her eyes out because mommy's on meth and daddy's MIA, and she's being dumped from DSS to grandma's to Aunt Louise's, installing new pro boards isn't going to solve that problem. It's not an academic problem, it's an emotional one. My children go to public schools, and they say 40% of the kids don't even try. Then they're simply not even applying themselves. Again, that's something in their thinking. It's a psychological issue. It's not an academic problem. And academic leaders don't understand it. So if Mr. Jones has been schooled in, and he's been trained in, and he's held a hammer for 25 years, guess what? To Mr. Jones, everything looks like a nail. That's part of the problem. The fourth thing is you have to restore integrity as well as accountability in the system. On SC Ready, 42% of the students in the state read at grade level, 45% at grade level in math, yet 80% of them walk across the graduation stage. According to their own figures, they're passing tons of students through the system who really aren't making the grade. You saw that with SC Ready, Read to Succeed. The program was going to lead kids back into 3rd grade if they weren't reading at grade level. 45% of them read at grade level, 2% of them were left back. It's another management problem. Again, it's not an academic one. So instead of creating more rules to get the system to do this or that, find ways to inject incentives into the system to bring about the results you want. For example, I would expand tax credits for school choice, from special ed to any student that's behind in grade level, more than one grade level in math and reading. What this is going to do is going to result in two things. One, private schools, they're going to come forward and crop up that focus on math and reading. Second thing, it's going to incentivize the entire traditional public school system to focus on basic math and reading. From the principal all the way down to the custodian who knows he might lose his job if he loses some students. We suffer from mission creep. We got to narrow the focus. You should do that. You can do that. Just legislate that one thing and the rest of the system will mobilize towards doing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex, very much for being with us today.